If you work on the SP404 Mark II but you're relatively new to the pattern area, then this video could be for you. I'm going to share 5 tips which I really think help make the process of making beats using this area a lot easier. For those of you that are a bit more experienced, I think this will also be quite useful. There's hopefully going to be something in here which you haven't seen before. If you did need to skip past one that you already know about, then make sure you use the chapters on this video. That'll make it easier to navigate through. Okay, so let's get onto the device, and the first tip that I want to share is that you can actually jump between the TR mode and the pattern mode in order to be able to make a beat. Now this comes in super handy, particularly for hi-hats, I find. So if we go to pattern select, and let's say we go to record on pattern 10. Now I'm going to turn this down because I don't want this clicking over the top of me recording this. So I'll go record and 10, and then you can see here it says real-time mode. We're going to hit remain, and you can see now it's changed it to TR record. So I'll go ahead and press record on your device. The click will probably start at this point, but I've got the volume turned down. And now basically what you can do is select your hi-hat, so use sub pad, and I know mine's on 15, so I'm going to press 15. And now that that's selected, what we can go ahead and do is just plug these hi-hat sounds in very quickly. Now the pattern is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Now we've got a 2-bar loop here, so we need to scroll across and do the same on loop 2. But you can just see how quick that is to put those in. And then if I come out of that, and we press play and I turn the volume up a bit. You can hear that it's put those hi-hats in really, really quickly. And obviously I'm showing you this video, so it takes a little bit longer. But if you know this pattern, you can just jump in, hit those hi-hats in straight away, and then what you can do is if you go back to record on this pattern again, and you can see here now, I can go ahead and change between TR record and real time. So you can put stuff in the TR mode, but that doesn't mean you have to make the whole beat in TR mode. You can hop between real time and TR mode as much as you want. So that's why it's really quick for putting the hi-hats in, but then if you want to do your samples, you can jump out, go into real time again, and put those down using that. So it just makes things way, way quicker, way, way easier. And yeah, I always use that for my hi-hat, so just find it super useful. Okay, my second point is using the copy feature to be able to delete sounds very easily. Now, in a recent update, what we've been able to do now is copy specific samples to new patterns. This is so useful, and it opens up the pattern mode for a lot of different things and just makes the workflow much easier. So for example here on pattern 2. So let's say I like all of that apart from the hi-hats. I don't want to have to go in and delete all those hi-hats and then re-record them. But what I can do, this is much faster, is I do copy and I select pad 2, and let's say I'm going to copy it onto 11. Now before we confirm that with copy, hit remain, and you may not be able to see because of my studio lights, but basically all of the pads that are being used in this pattern should be lit up in white on your machine. And I'm going to go ahead and copy everything apart from the hi-hat. And I'm just going to have to double check because I can't see the lights very well. So that should be everything apart from the hi-hat. I come out of remain, and now I hit copy. And now 11 should have that pattern on, but it won't have the hi-hat. So let's have a listen. Okay, that's perfect. We've got that exact pattern, but without the hi-hats, and I can go ahead and re-record the hi-hats over the top. So it just saves you going into each pattern and deleting the whole thing. You can use that copy feature just to copy everything but the sound that you want, and it's just a kind of different way of deleting that sound, and then you have the option to re-record it. Obviously, you can do that in all sorts of different ways and configurations, so use that to your advantage. I think that's really, really useful. Okay, this is a very quick tip, this next one, and this is to stop your patterns from overlapping. Now, I know a lot of you have asked about this in the comments, and there is a fix for it, and it's really easy to do. Now, what we need to do is come out of pattern mode, and we need to go to Shift and 13. This takes you into the utility menu, and we're going to go to System. And if we scroll down about halfway down, you'll see here PTN change mode. Now you can see mine is on SX at the moment, and by default yours will probably be on Mark II like this. So Mark II lets the samples kind of bleed into the next pattern, and that's probably the issue that you're having. If you change this to SX, that's going to stop all the samples at the end of that loop, or the end of however many bars you've got programmed in. And then when you flip to the next loop that you've set up, or the next pattern, it's going to cut all those sounds off and start all the new ones in the new pattern. So that's really, really handy. I always pretty much use SX mode now. It cuts off all the samples and it ensures that you don't get that sample bleeding, which I find quite annoying. So we're back in the pattern mode for tip number 4, and in this one, what I want to show you guys is how you can double or halve lengths of loops really, really quickly. So if we go to pad 9 here, you can see here I've got a 4-bar drum loop. Okay, but let's say for some hypothetical reason we only want that to be 2 bars. If we go to pattern edit, and you can see it brings up this menu here, it's saying measure 4, and what I want to do is halve that. So I want the first half of this loop. You can see I just used the 4th dial there, and that's moved the endpoint across. And then what I can do is go to menu and crop, and I'm going to go yes to confirm it. And now you can see it says measure 2. We've got 1.1 to 2.4, so we've got a 2-bar loop instead now. Okay, and the time is slightly out there because I haven't used quantize, but it doesn't matter particularly for this example. So let's say now that we decide suddenly, okay, actually no, I do want a 4-bar loop. We can go into it again, select the whole thing, menu, and duplicate. And what this is going to do is just literally duplicate it and tack it onto the end of the pattern. And because of the SSD in this device, it does it so quickly. And you can see now we've got 4 measures again, 1.1 to 4.4. And that's how you can double or half the lengths of loops very quickly. That can be a huge time saver. Okay, my 5th and final tip for the pattern area, which I'm going to show you today, is how you can use the copy feature to make the workflow of the pattern area a lot easier. You can hear there on pad 1, I've just got the samples on their own, but instead of layering the drums over that to start making a full loop, what I'm going to do, and this is what I do a lot, is make a copy, put that on 9, and now if I go to record and 9, and let's say I try and do some drums. And you could hear there I made a mistake, so I've come out of it, but what I can just quickly do now is delete that, and I can just make a copy of 1 again, and I'm back to where I started. I don't have to go in and do any deleting, anything like that. I've just deleted the attempt that I made a new copy of 1, and it's ready to go again to layer some drums over the top. Now you can do that with any instrument. Usually what I do is each time I add a new instrument, I'll make a copy, because reason 1, I'll probably end up using that in the beat anyway, because I want the option to be able to hop between different patterns which have different parts in them. So say one without drums, one without hi-hats, one without a kick. So making copies as you go along is really handy for that. And reason number 2, like I've just showed you, deleting them when you make errors is a really quick way of being able to re-record. So you can just delete it if you get it wrong, make a new copy of the previous one, and layer what you want over the top of that. So it just speeds up the workflow a lot and makes things a lot easier. Thanks for sticking around and checking out these tips. Before you go, let me just tell you quickly about SPVIDZ.com. All the links are in the description below, but you can go there and check out my beat packs, my merch, like this hat that I'm wearing here. I've got t-shirts, I've got the skin, which you can see here on the SP404-MK2. Everything that I earn is from this YouTube channel, so I'd really appreciate it if you could look at the ways of supporting me and keep me doing what I'm doing. Apart from that, guys, just keep making beats, keep having fun, and I'll be back with more content soon. Peace!